Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and we just hit 300,000 subscribers. To celebrate, I decided to remake the very first video that took off on my channel, which was the left-hand right-hand challenge. I originally made it with the twins from The Shining, and I thought that I'd do it again, not just because, well, I'm remaking the video, so why not do it exactly the same way, but also because it is Halloween month, and I thought that it would sort of fit the whole vibe of October. So I'm drawing the left twin with my left hand, and that is in my dominant hand. In the original, my style looks a little bit weird, and that's because I was still figuring a lot of things out and experimenting a ton. Whereas now I feel like I finally figured out what style I want to use. Obviously I'm still refining it all the time, but I feel a lot more secure in what I'm doing, which is really cool. There was no way I could have predicted how you guys and YouTube would change my life back then, so it's really interesting to look back on that video that I made at like 2 a.m. just on a whim. It's really crazy to me to think about that time in my life. So it's been probably about a year and a half since I started YouTube for real, and it's been just really cool. But anyway, I digress. This is basically the inking done on the left-hand side of this drawing that I'm doing, and I tried to really show her sort of ominous glare that she sort of has in the actual movie. That was something I looked back on and I thought I didn't really capture very well on either side of the drawing, was the look that they're giving in the movie. So I tried to really show that a little better and make her look really ominous. I'm using a gouache brush to make a very nice sort of highly rendered painterly kind of effect on her. Basically, I'm just trying to make it as hard as possible for myself when I do the opposite hand drawing. And basically, gouache is just a very smooth and nice kind of paint, and using it digitally is really nice. It's a lot easier than using it in real life. And I'm just trying to use these nice warm tones all over her, because when I looked at the reference picture I saw that it had sort of a warm light over the both of them, so that's what I'm trying to use. My first instinct was to use a cold light because that seems scarier to me, but I wanted to be closer to the actual image from the movie, so that's what I went with. I also played around with the idea of her having skulls in the highlights of her eyes, but they kind of just look like octopi. And now what I have to do is just replicate this on the other side with my right hand. So switching over, you can see that I'm having a bit of a struggle. See, the truth of the matter is that I can't do anything with my right hand. I said it back when I originally made the left-hand, right-hand challenge, and I'll say it again. I don't use my right hand for anything. So basically you can see the weakness in my wrist and everything. It's sort of just, these lines are just sort of wobbling around, and they barely look like anything. For some reason her legs were the hardest part to draw in this sketch. They just like wouldn't turn into any kind of shape that looks even remotely like a leg. I scooched her over a little bit just so that they're actually holding hands, and now it's time to move on to the ink already. So now I can just clean it up hopefully and fix everything that's wrong with this sketch, and nope, it's gonna be just as bad. I'm trying to get the line weights right, but again, because this wrist is much weaker than the other one, you can see that it's really hard for me to regulate that line. Also, I just want to say, this is actually my very best effort with my right hand. In challenge videos lately, it seems like a lot of people are thinking that I'm making things look bad on purpose, but I promise you, this is really the best that I can do. My right hand is just very weak, and it's just gotten no training whatsoever in drawing, so it's basically like starting from scratch. So I'm trying to just get the shapes right as best as I can, even though the lines are so wobbly. But already our twin on the right side is looking a little bit off. There's a few things that stick out and make her look a little bit different. Her leg looks like it's been in some sort of trash compactor, but you know, maybe. Oh, and you can see that I accidentally opened the wrong type of brush. Because I am working on a tablet, accidentally clicking in weird places can cause all kinds of mayhem on my Photoshop, which happens a lot when you're not using your actual dominant hand. So I'm just about done with the ink. She's looking a little bit crumpled up, but she still looks roughly kind of like her twin. I tried to incorporate the curls into her hair, but mostly it's just 2 curls and then a lot of blobs. And then I accidentally opened layer properties, which I didn't mean to do either. And now it's time to put in the flat colors. And I can see I actually made a mistake on the other side. I actually shaded on the flat color layer, which is definitely an accident. But the coloring is relatively easy because you're just using the paint bucket tool, though I didn't close my lines very well, so that means the paint bucket tool is going to get confused a lot and fill in things kind of wrong. That's a huge problem when you're trying to use the paint bucket tool and also trying to use your wrong hand when you are lining, because yeah, there's a lot of gaps. But with the flat color done, it's now time to shade, and I tried to use turning off layers on accident again. I'm trying to shade basically by making sure to select the colors that I want, and then I don't have to worry as much about going outside the lines. But still, you can see there's a pretty intense struggle. Her hair is looking a bit like meatloaf, which is not what we want typically. And I'm having trouble pressing down hard enough, so you can see that the gouache is not really putting down the right color. It's not quite dark enough because I can't press down properly. And I'm trying to blend it, but well, it doesn't look quite as good, I would say. It looks a little bit off. But I thought I'd add a little dimension to her face, give her a bit of that blush. Maybe that will clean this up and bring it all together. Having some issues with the legs again. For some reason, doing those lines sort of down vertically is kind of difficult. More difficult than other parts of the drawing. I'm not really sure why. But you can see this streaky shading is looking a little bit wrong. In retrospect, I probably should have made a bigger brush because I couldn't sort of keep things in line, so it would be better to just do one pass instead of multiple passes because it looks sort of scribbly and bad. And I try to go back and smooth it out again, which does a little bit of good. I'm struggling with the navigator because, again, having to control the entire computer with my right hand is very difficult, even though I usually do that with the mouse, but it's a whole different thing with the pen. And with that, I only have a bit more highlights and stuff to do. She is sort of taking shape. The highlights are a special challenge. You can see that my hand wants to do this weird curving thing that isn't good for the highlights I'm trying to draw. But I get them on her shoes and her hair and her eyes nonetheless. And then it just comes to a matter of copying a bit from the background, and we are done. So here are the old version and the new version side by side, and you can see how different they look. I think in some ways the right-handed version looks like it made more improvements than the left-handed version. I was doing some interesting storybooky kind of painterly stuff back in the day, and that's kind of cool. It doesn't look as confident as the stuff that I'm doing now, but I still think it looks okay. If you want to watch the original video I made, feel free to check it out. I should link it in the end card, so that should be coming up really soon. Also, big apologies for not having posted a video last week. I got super sick and I just couldn't do it, but I should be posting 2 videos a week from now on. So next week that will start, and I'm really excited to get back on the swing of things. And yeah, thank you guys so much again, and I will see you next week. Oh, before you go, my Redbubble actually has been updated with one new design. For those of you who don't know, I have this art kit design that I started off with that you can get in all kinds of t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. But this one is new. A lot of you asked for something related to Unfamiliar or Planchette, so I made this little Planchette sticker that all of you can get if you want, and it just has her eating her favorite food, which is pizza. You can get it in sticker form, or you can also get it as a throw pillow or a tote bag. So if you're interested in any of that, check out the description box for a link to my Redbubble. And if you have any more merch requests, leave a comment below. Thank you to my patrons, including Blep, Code, Ellie Quiznak, Miss Misu, Christy Stewart, Paynamel, Elizabeth Albin, Calpompon, Sergeant Pendulum, Lovely, Lachlan MD, Mystic, Vilka, Enzo Jobert, Yaboy ST, Adrian Delport, JJ, Laura Better, Riley James, Superpixel, Angela Taylor, Hallman Kearney, blah 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 blah, Addie Visual, and @Live Likes to Draw. And as for Code's question, I am doing well today. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I will see you next week.